Recognize that tune, and you know it's time for Digging with Seven and Tennessee Jeff. Join us for the next hour as we talk metal detecting and relic hunting. Join in the chat and post any comments or questions you might have, and we'll get to as many of them as we can. You're listening to Relics Radio on Spreaker. All right, it's Thursday night again, and we're live on Relics Radio, coming to you from the loft here in southern Kentucky. And I see Chris Heimsoff is in, and Deborah Minnick is in, and we're ready for a good program tonight. We've got a very special guest with us. I see Dump Site Digger is in. I'm Digging with Seven, your host, and also got our co-host on the line with us tonight, Tennessee Jeff. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here, buddy.
Well,
I wouldn't miss it for the world.
Good job.
So I'm going to go ahead and say now, little baby Avery, my newborn, he's kind of a little fussy. So if y'all hear him in the background, y'all just kind of forgive us. So I mean, of course, you know how a screaming baby is.
I do. We had 3. We got Forrest and Ed in. We got Carl with the yard dogs in, and got everybody in. And I've been waiting for a long time to say this right here. There's Shane McNally. We've got people just popping in everywhere. But our guest tonight is on YouTube. I've known him for a long time, never met him, but I consider him to be a good friend of mine. His YouTube channel is called Guess It Was Fate. And I've been waiting all day to say this. So here's Johnny.
Thank you very much, Roy. How you doing, guys? Thank you very much, Jeff.
We are doing good.
You're welcome. Thank you.
We're doing great. I talked to Johnny this morning, and he told me that he was going to get out, and he lives up in Connecticut. I thought he lived up around the Chicago area, but was mistaken about that. But he said that he was going to get out and do a little bit of water hunting today. Did you get to do that?
Yeah, I went with my friends Joe from Hooked on History. He's got a great YouTube channel, and Charlie. He's got he's tried a lot of different detectors. He's got a MineLab Excalibur 2. He's got a White's PI, and he's got the CTX and the Nocta Impact. And so we went out to the beach today. We didn't have much success, but I found a few fishing weights, and the other guys found some change too, but it just wasn't a good location today. But some of my friends have been finding a lot of gold rings at the local beach where I live, and that would be Angel and my good friend Ben and Tony. So they've been turning up some good finds, though.
Well, from what I understand, talking to water hunters that I know have met on YouTube, is that when you go to finding the fishing weights, then you know that you're in the right area for the gold rings and things, right?
You're absolutely right, Loy. In fact, that's what my friend Charlie said today. Says, where did you find the fishing weights? Because that's where the gold can be. So you're right on the mark there, Loy, and that's what Charlie told me today. But it just didn't happen today, but for any of us. But we'll be back out there again, So beach detecting is still basically what we can do right now because the ground is frozen. There's still a lot of snow on the grassy areas and the fields. So that's what we're left with in southwestern Connecticut right now.
Well,
Man. So go ahead and kind of explain why is the reason if you start finding fishing weights, then that would be the place to hunt.
Well, I would say it's because maybe people have been in that area, either fishing and stuff like that, and it sinks down. But Charlie would know a lot more about that, the reasons for that. Beach detecting isn't my forte. I certainly do it, but I'd rather be dirt digging like you guys do. But the reason why maybe the gold can be found in that area, sometimes you want to look for black sand and wet sand, and that could be the area where a lot of gold could wash in and sink. And maybe the weights do that same thing because they're heavy too, like gold. So, but that's just a theory on my part.
Yeah,
that makes
maybe
sense.
somebody else ringing in here, signing on, could answer that better than me.
From what I understand, when you just got sand, stuff just falls through the sand, and it gets down to either a hard pan or rock or gravel or whatever. And, the weights are going to be one of the first things that go down because they're so, they're so heavy. But
right.
It's kind of like the clay is in our area here, Jeff. Whenever we have things that go down to the clay, they can't go any further. And that's kind of what you look at on beach hunting as well. But everybody says, if you find the weights, then you've got a hard pan there, and that's as far as the rings are going to go as well. So that's kind of where you start. Jordan Anderson is in the house, and we want to say
hello, Jordan.
Say hello to him. I think I've mentioned everybody else. Johnny, you've got a good group of people in your area that you hunt with, don't you?
I sure do. I have the luxury of being retired, so not all the time I can hook up with them, but I'm always looking forward because to me, like I told you earlier today when you called it, to me, hunting with friends, the camaraderie, talking about metal detecting is just where it's at. That's what I live for. I love to detect with friends. Joe and I have been detecting together. He's invited me to some of his cellar holes. I invited him to one of my permissions, and it's just great being out there with the guys that love the hobby just like I do.
Yeah, Jeff can tell you something about that because really neither one of us like to hunt by ourselves anymore. Mark Hoover's in the house. Hello, Mark.
Yeah, I was when I first started detecting, I pretty much hunted by myself all the time, and then of course at the time I liked it that way, and then of course I guess I was kind of like keeping the sights to myself, and then me and Seven we met up, and then after we started hunting together, I thought, man, it's a lot more fun with somebody, and if you find something real good while you're there, you've got somebody to celebrate with. Instead of just you find it by yourself, and then you're like, well, the only one that's seen it besides me is just me. And then, of course, I can text my wife or something, well, I found this, I found that, and then she'd be like, well, okay. But with Seven there, I mean, he's just as happy as I am. So
that's a typical, that's good.
Yeah,
you know what, I just love hunting with my friends, and I consider Angel one of the best water detectors around, and he's been in a lot of my videos from the past. We went, we went to the place called where I nicknamed it the Happy Hunting Ground because we found so many Indian head scents there.
Yeah.
And of course we found a lot of other great silver coins there too, but it's been pounded by us by about 3 years now, and it's getting harder and harder to find stuff. Although last year I had my best year ever. I got 119 silvers. I was very fortunate to get that. But I wanted to say too that, and Thank you. I wanted to say too that dump site digger, Jim.
Yeah.
We're going to get together this year. He's going to come over, and we're going to detect together, or I'm going to go over there, and Jim and I together and find some good stuff. I'm going to invite him on some permissions I have over here, and he's got the CTX too, and the AT Pro. So he's using some of the same tools you guys are doing. He's just a great guy.
He is, and I've talked to him. I've actually talked to him on the phone, I think, and we've emailed back and forth, and of course talk on whenever he would comment or I'd comment on his stuff. Yeah, he seems like a great guy, and so
he sure is.
You guys will you'll enjoy that. Got Bill McDougall in the house. We got Missouri Mac in the house. I want to try and mention all these guys. How long you been hunting, Johnny?
Almost 5 years now. I haven't been it's relatively a new hobby for me. I was always interested in something else, but I was working for the post office for a long time and retired from that. But, and before that I was a school teacher. But it's only been 5 years since I've been doing this, and I learned a lot from my buddy Angel. That's how I met him at the post office one time, and we just hooked up. And same thing with Charlie. I met Joe at the Happy Hunting Ground. His whole family came down there once, and we just hit it off. And he says, "Is that a CTX I see?" And I said, "Yes." And we met, and it's history after that. And he's just a great guy. Him and his son, and they have. Joe uses a CTX. He uses the Deus, XP Deus, which he's been having great fortune with. His son uses the Technetics T2 Classic and an E-Track, and just a great guy. And all my friends are fantastic people to be with.
Yeah, and they find some good stuff. I watch all of their videos, and you've had I've seen Angel on several of yours, and he's a comical character, isn't he?
Yeah. That's why I want him in my videos all the time, because he just puts a lot of humor into his finds and stuff, and he just cracks me up. And that's what I strive for. It's just I try and make my videos like entertaining as well as interesting. So, but Angel's a great character. I love him.
Yeah, Dave Miller is in the
Josh in the house now.
Yeah, Dave Miller's in the house,
and
Josh is in the house. Appreciate you guys coming in and sharing the night with us. Yeah, that's the only reason that I've got Jeff with me is because he's the one that brings all the humor in.
I try to. But the reason I got 7 with me is because he was there back in the day where, he'll know exactly where the old spots are. So,
yeah, we have a lot of
right.
We have a lot of fun together, and Jeff and I have talked, and we've talked with different guests that we've had on the show. Been very fortunate to have some very good people on here. And fortunate to have you tonight, because you do a variety of different kinds of hunting. Whenever the ground's not frozen, you do a lot of land hunting, and I've seen a lot of your Happy Hunting Ground there, and the seededs that you found there, and all of the Indians and everything, and y'all, that's been a pretty good run for y'all, the Happy Hunting Ground, hasn't it?
Yeah, we got no complaints. It's been a great run, and I'll still go out there. I'll still go to the Happy Hunting Ground, but I'm going to travel far and wide this year, because I got to find new locations. Not just permissions, just other locations. I've traveled up to, I'm sure everybody does. But, I've traveled pretty far north, west, south of where I live. And like 100 miles a day, and saying, well, I don't care. I'm going to have to do it more and more to turn up some great finds. And I guess the best.
You've got a lot of competition up there where you're at, more so than we have here.
Yeah. There's a lot of people in southwestern Connecticut and even Connecticut itself that metal detect. It sure is. In fact, if I could relate a little story, when I started metal detecting, with Angel, and we went over to the Happy Hunting Ground for the first time, and we started finding all these Indians. Of course, it wasn't called the Happy Hunting Ground. And just to set the story straight, this is a public place. Okay, this is a public place. That's fine, but what we ran into was we were turning up so many good finds, and we were posting it on one of the forums, and metal detecting forums, and people, would say, "I wonder where that Happy Hunting Ground is," and they would look for us. And they found us. And then they told tons of people about it. A place that's never been really detected before.
Yeah.
And people from out of state come. And what do you think about that, Loy?
Well, it's a public place, and Jeff
it is.
Jeff and I had the same situation whenever we hunted the Gallatin camp. We had that kind of to ourselves for maybe a week or two, and then we started putting videos up, and everybody put two and two together there real quick. And it wasn't long until there was it looked like a DIV on that little old bank lot, where we were hunting.
Now
it sure did.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't you have Tom Tillich Yoda on your show?
No. No, we haven't yet.
That was Mike Mallyman 24. Excuse me.
Okay.
But he had. I don't know if you watch his videos. Tom
I do.
From Tillich Yoda.
I do.
He related a story, about his dream stream where he's found so many gold rings. Oh my gosh, good for him,
Yeah, I've seen those videos.
That's the public place, but he showed too much background, and people came down and just. I would never think of doing something like that myself. I don't like that idea of crowding in on somebody. You got to do your own research. Yeah, it is a public place, but I just didn't take kindly to that.
Yeah,
it's kind of hard when somebody like say Seven or I, we do a research, and then we find this spot, and then all of a sudden, after we post a couple of videos, you start seeing other dig holes and other people coming, and just because they've seen our video and then recognize something in the background. And I've had that happen to me. A real good farm that I was hunting. I mean, it was a virgin camp when I found it, and then of course I never did tell anybody where it was. I mean, there was maybe one guy that I told, and after that, of course, it was another guy. He was wanting to hunt with me, and then of course I couldn't take him there. And the next thing you know, he started going through the videos. And then he brought the location up, and I was like, yeah, that would be a pretty good spot to hunt. And then, of course, that's what he was doing, is going through the videos and seeing everything in the background. So, and then after that, it was just kind of, everybody was bugging the landowner to metal detect, and he just cut it out. So
now, hey, Loy, we were talking earlier today about one of the great finds I'm determined to find this year, a capped bust. Now, Connecticut is pretty old, it's a colonial, it's one of the original colonies, and I've been dying to find a capped bust. My oldest silver coin was a 1840 seated dime. It's got the old style reverse on it, and I was telling Lloyd that Martin Van Buren was the 8th president of the United States at that time. And I'm just dying to find a cap bust, though, at a permission that I, do when I go door knocking. And did you want to relate your story there, Loy, about your find the cap or?
Jeff found one. I've never found one.
And I'm going to relate one that is similar to yours.
Okay. Well, for those of you that don't know or didn't watch that video, Jeff and I, as soon as we finished up with the Gallatin camp, the bank construction site, the infamous pile of dirt that we hunted, we had put out that we were going to give away a pinpointer for the first one of us that found a real. And so we said, to each other, well, we got to find us some colonial sites to work if we're wanting to find a real. So we found one, and we hunted about half a day before we really got on to the place and kind of located most of the relics and everything. And I just happened to be lucky enough that I was on the right spot, and Jeff was across the field, and I hollered at him, and I told him, I said, I'm finding pewter spoon bowls and some flat buttons, and so you need to come over here. So he came over, and he was 50 yards away from me, I guess, in the same area, though, and he was hunting kind of the other side. It was a little knoll and about 50 yards square. And he was hunting over there. And, of course, we don't hunt with headphones, and so you can hear one another's signals. And I had a real good signal, and he said, boy, that sounds good. And so I dug it, and he said, what was it? And I said, it's a dandy button. Well, I look up, and I'm filming it, and here he comes. Of course, he's just kidding, Here he comes. He said, where was that button at? And all of a sudden, I've got the coil right there, and he's going, and we have a big laugh about it. But he never did leave. And he walked on up. What'd you walk up? Maybe 10 steps and found the cap bust?
Yeah, maybe 10 steps. But see, I'd hunted this farm for about 6 years. I'd got permission to hunt it, like I said, about 6 years ago. So I decided to take 7 on there with me. And then, of course, like I said, he has taught me a lot to look for older spots, like where they would be at. So that's when Loy, he walked to this one spot, and then he started finding like the spoon bowl and stuff. And then, of course, when one of us find a good find in a certain area, we'll call the other one over to hunt that spot with us.
Right.
And then so that's kind of what 7 had done at that time. And then just called me over. Well, let's hit this one little spot right here. I found this button here. And then so happened, I turned around and maybe, like you said, 10 feet away, I got a good signal. And then, of course, pulled it out, and then there you go. It was that cap bust. So,
and there's no, I don't want anybody that's listening to get the wrong idea about this, because there is absolutely no jealousy between me and Jeff, because we are about team. And, since we've teamed up together, all that I want to make the best finds that we can make. I want to make the best videos that we can make. And if that means that Jeff, and we'll kind of go back and forth. One day I'll have a good day. One day he'll have a good day. But it all evens out. And, I noticed that in your videos as well. There's not any jealousy, is there, with you and Angel?
No, not. All I do is rejoice over my friend's finds. Now here's my little story. Joe's knocked on lots of doors. We probably knocked on the same doors, in this small state, because he's gone far and wide too. But he's invited me to cellar holes, and I want you to know I found my first harmonica reed in the woods, and I know you have tons of them, Lloyd. Congratulations! But I was thrilled to get mine too, and. So Joe invites me to some of his places and a permission, and I invite him. So I asked Joe one day back in March if what he was going to do. He said, I feel like going metal detecting, but where do you want to go? I said, well, we could go back to 1790 permission that I did about 10 miles away from my home. And so he said, yeah, okay. So we went in there, and the people recognized me because I'm a return metal detectorist there, and excuse me. And so we started going out. Now, the last time I was there, I used the CTX, and I got a musket ball and some other good relics, But this time I used the AT Pro. And then Joe, since it was his first time at this permission, he started using the CTX. And then he keeps going and going and going. And he comes over to me and says, I found a great find. I found a real. I said, 2 real. It was like 8 or 9 inches down, And I said, really? Let me see. Noticed to me later, and I was just so happy for him, because just like you said about you and Jeff, I just rejoice in my friends' finds. I want to get it on film, historical value and all that, and just congratulations. That's what it's all about.
It is, and
yep, that's what it's all about.
The very next hunt, after Jeff found the cap bust, he found a 2 real, and
wow,
we gave a pinpointer away after about having the contest up for about a week, and then we put another contest up, and it had been a
week.
Yeah, it had been a year since I'd found a large scent. Well, we were talking about putting up a contest and giving away a pinpointer, and I said, well, we ought to do it on a large scent. But before we could even get the video up, Jeff found one at a site, and then I went and hunted that site with him, and I found a large scent. So it was about a week. We had a stretch there of about 3 weeks that we give away 2 pinpointers. So
yeah,
that was a good week. Good week for everybody. Nick Haas
sounds like it was.
Yeah, Nick Haas is in the house,
yep.
And he was talking about giving your sites away, showing too much on video, showing addresses or license plates or too much scenery and everything. And we kind of watch that sometimes. Sometimes we don't. We don't have that much problem here in southern Kentucky. Now, Jeff, in the area that he lives, there are a lot of Civil War hunters, and so we have to kind of be careful whenever we go down there.
Right.
But, Jeff has permissions there in Middle Tennessee that he and I have hunted, and there's no way that I would go to one of those sites without Jeff unless he told me to go there. And he'd be the same way here in Kentucky, I know his sites.
Yeah, I never would, yeah.
And, but...
well, see, that is honorable. That is honorable. That's who you are, It's part of your makeup, and that's great.
Well, Jeff's friendship is worth more to me than a cap bust or, a U.S. box plate or whatever I could find. So, I'm just...
That's right. I agree 100%, Seven.
Yeah, I'm just not going to do it because, we're just great friends. Hey, Trenton Yoder's in the house.
Yeah, there he is.
Yeah.
Sorry he's late.
Yeah. Late as usual. Well, I tell you what, Trenton's got a house full of boys and a new baby girl too. So he's a busy man. And Trevor, his boy is the one that won the Mind Lab Go Find 40 that we teamed up with Josh Kimmel and Beyond Sight and Sound and gave that away. And so that's a young hunter there. That's I believe he's 5 or 6 years old. And so we got a new detectorist in the community there, Johnny.
That's great.
We were talking a while ago. What kind of detectors have you had, and what are you using now, and what do you like about some and don't like about others, and what have you?
Okay. Well, I started with a bounty hunter that I just borrowed from my brother, who lives in upstate New York, and because I saw my friend Angel, who was doing this, and I didn't have a detector yet, so I borrowed his. It was like a 10 kilohertz. It was a cheap, it was like a beginner machine, and but that was okay. We ran at like 10 kilohertz, I think. So you could get a little deep with it, but it wasn't anything special, you know. So my friend had an AT Pro Angel, and so that was my first machine. I think a lot of guys start out with the AT Pro. It's a great machine. I have no complaints. I found a lot of Indians. I think to me it specialized in Indians, which copper, of course, and relics and nickels, old nickels, you know. And I loved it for that particularly. And then, you know, I just kept, you know, when new things came out, I just wanted to get something better. And so I complemented my arsenal and got the MindLab CTX. And as you know, and others know, it's just a silver magnet. You know, I think the full band spectrum of the CTX 3030 is just a fantastic machine. Anybody who uses it will tell you that, and I really like it for that. Now, it's not as good in iron-infested sites, I don't think, like the AT Pro or my newest machine, which is the Nocta Impact, and that's like pretty comparable to what my friend has, like the XP Deus. And so, you know, this is a fast machine. It runs on 4 different frequencies. Or is it 3? It's been a while since I've been out with this frozen down. I mean, I'm a novice at it right now. I'm getting pretty good with it though. But I got it in October. I'm going to be using it a lot more. I'll probably go back to some of my permissions and where there's iron infested sites and use that like someone might use the Deus or the AT Pro in there.
Yeah.
But it does get very deep, and Charlie has taught me a lot. My friend Charlie has taught me a lot about that Nocta Impact. And another metal detectorist, as you might know from Texas, Darnell.
Yeah. Hello,
has
world.
A great channel, and he's just constantly finding wonderful silver finds with his Nocta Impact too.
Yeah, I agree with you on. You know that I had a CTX. I sold my CTX this year. I sold it to Missouri Mac, and I tell you why I did. If I was hunting house sites, you know, standing houses, where that you're going to have pull tabs and stuff like that, I wouldn't use anything but a CTX. And I can't complain on the CTX as far as buttons, because the year that I found 301 flat buttons, just about every one of those were found with my CTX. And it's a button magnet, and I could hear the sound of a button, you know, but I didn't like using my CTX in iron. I like the AT Pro a lot better. And, you know, Jeff and I kind of got to the point that all we were doing, we were either hunting old colonial sites where we had a lot of iron and things that we were working in, and we were both using AT Pros, or we were hunting a Civil War site and we'd gone to the MindLab GPX to where that we could get the depth and also deal with the mineralization of the soil. And I just wasn't using it. And, you know, there's been a time or two since I sold it that I wish I had it back. But, you know, different detectors, they have different qualities. And, you know, I'm not kicking the CTX. It's just something that I just wasn't using. And there wasn't any use in me keeping it around, you know. But I'd recommend to anybody, try different machines and see what you think about them. But if I could only have one detector, it'd be an AT Pro right now. Now,
yeah,
I've never used a.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, you look, you need a detector for old home sites. You need a detector for colonial sites, Civil War sites, beach hunting. I mean, there's so many different locations that you can use a different detector at. And then, like the AT Pro, I mean, it's not very good at the beach. Okay, then you're going to have to get something that is. And of course, I'm thinking about trying the XP Deus, of course, on some of these colonial sites we hunt, and then just to see how how much difference there is in between the Pro and the Deus. And then, see, I run the Micro Racer 2, and I like the machine. I don't have very much time under my belt with it. And I have found, well, actually the Cap Bust and then the Riel that we were talking about earlier, that's what I found them coins with, is that Racer 2. And then
Wow.
we were hunting a Civil War site that Lloyd, he was using the AT Pro, and I'd got a signal with the Racer, and he come over there with the AT Pro, and the AT Pro didn't pick it up. It ended up being a general service coat button. So, wow. I mean, but if you can get as many detectors as you can get, the better off you are. I mean, of course, that's what I always try to tell my wife every time I get another detector. Well, why you need that for? Well, I'm gonna hunt this site this week.
Yeah. The women have a different idea on that, but they got their.
Totally. I see Bill. I see Bill posted my main detector's the F75 Black Edition. Now, Bill, I had that F75, and that is a great machine. And the only reason I don't have it now is because I had to get rid of it to get the GPX. And then I wish I could get one of those again too. And then, I mean, I've been looking for one at a affordable amount that I can afford right now. So, but yeah, the F75 is a great machine. So.
Mark Hoover
Certainly is.
Mark Hoover brings up a good point, and I've got I feel the same as he does. He said it's going to be interesting to see how the Mind Lab Equinox, which they're saying that is going to be available to the public late this month or early in February, but how the Mind Lab Equinox is going to compare against the XP Deus, because from what I understand, the Equinox is going to be fast as lightning too.
Yeah, I've heard all that. It's going to have like 5, 10, 15, 20, 40 kilohertz, and it's supposed to be a great machine. Hey, it's a Mind Lab, so we'll see how. I know Angel is waiting for those tests to come out more affirmatively to see how it is in the field. I guess they haven't. Yeah. Mind Lab hasn't authorized any field tests of it yet, but it's going to be a great machine, and Charlie certainly is thinking of getting that one. But I was thinking of getting before I got the Impact, I was considering getting an older machine that claimed to be the best relic machine was a Fisher F-19. And I know Matt Tar Heel Diggin used that a lot down there in Georgia, and he was in North Carolina, but now he's in Georgia. But, that machine particularly interested me, but then I just went to the Impact for the variety of frequencies, and it's a fast machine too. So,
well, that Fisher's done great for Matt. I mean, he's done well with it down there in Georgia.
I'll
so,
say.
I mean,
yeah, but he's got the button tray.
And I know Shannon from Palmetto Digger. He's got a great channel, and he uses the XP Deus, and he finds tons of relics. It's some people believe what I do believe. If you have a machine and you master it, that's your best machine for you. But I totally agree that the more machines you have, the better your chances are.
Yeah, but you do bring up a good point. Whenever I had my AT Pro, the one I've got now, I've had for several years, I guess, whenever they first came out. And then I thought, well, I'm going to do better than that. And I got an E-Track, and my buddy Mike Turner uses my E-Track now. I never did sell it. And then I thought, well, I want to do better than that. I want to get a CTX. But, you can just keep trading machines, but you're going to be better off to get a machine and learn it completely, know exactly what it's saying to you, because but I am a big believer in hitting different sites with different machines, because they have different strengths and everything. I was looking.
They do. And say some of my Colonial sights, I mean, I've hit it with the AT Pro, went back with the Racer and found stuff that, I mean, I didn't find with the AT Pro. And then, I mean, so on so on with the F-75. I mean, I would go hit a place with the F-75 and then the AT Pro, and then you always find just different stuff that you pass up.
Yeah, and Bill McDougall said he'd like to see an experienced Deus user give an honest field test with an Equinox. That is a great point, and Mark Hoover said that he agrees with that. And I believe that I was looking here. Mark said he used one of those 2 hours in Orlando, and he said that he thinks it's an amazing machine at a good price. But you know, when we get these comparisons with people, a lot of times you get somebody that may be biased one way or the other. And I did a side-by-side video a couple of years ago, I guess. I used my CTX, and then I had a guy come in with an XP Deus. And we went to a site. It was a Civil War site. It was a nail-infested site. And I'd pretty well picked everything that I thought of, you know, out with that CTX and AT Pro, and I just wondered if I had missed anything. And so I got a guy with a XP Deus, and he was good with it. And he came in, and neither one of us really found a diggable signal in that area. So, but I felt good about it because this guy knew his machine. And when you have these comparisons, that's what you want. You want somebody that knows the machine that you're comparing another machine to.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
That makes sense. I guarantee you, if Mine Lab would send us an Equinox, we would learn that machine, and we would put it to the test. So.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. We sure would. We'd put it to the test, and I'm anxious to see how that Equinox really does pan out. I was interested in the AT Max. Jeff is using an AT Gold, and you know, if you've got an AT Gold and you like your AT Gold, well, that's great. But I don't like the tones on the AT Gold, and I don't think Jeff does either. Do you, Jeff?
No, it's pretty much just one tone. I mean, pretty much the AT Gold is a discriminate machine. I mean, you've got one tone, and then you you notch out the iron, and then all you hear is like from 30 and above. Okay, if you don't notch out 30 and below, then it's just like running a machine on metal mode. It's got the same sound. Versus the AT Pro, it's got the 3-tone. So, and I mean, that's, you got your iron grunt, and you've got your, say, mid-tone, and then you've got your high tone.
Yeah.
See, I mean, that one tone is, it messes with me. Now, I mean, I'm not saying there's not people out there that loves that. I mean, but to me, I can't get used to it. I like the 3-tone.
Well, that's what Johnny was saying there a while ago. Don't you think, Johnny, that the best thing that you can do is learn your machine, whether you've got an E-Track?
Learn your machine.
Yep, learn.
I like what Mike Clutter says. He says, I feel like it takes a year or so to learn your machine. And I'm not going to do any kind of impact review for me against any other machine until I have a lot of time under my belt and experience with that machine, you know. It's just, I don't feel qualified to do that. And so, I mean, I've seen Charlie have it now for quite some time. It's a very deep machine. It's a fast machine. It's more of a sound machine, like Joe says about the XP Davis. You pretty much have to dig, you know, a good signal or even an iffy signal, of course. But you know, it's learning your machine, just like you guys said, and other people on this chat here says you got to know your machine, see what it's telling you.
Donald Comer's in the house, and he said that his E-Track works great for him on silvers, and he said he'd never trade it in. I don't blame you. If you know your machine, and I know with the E-Track, it had that little fluty sound whenever you come up on a silver. And a lot of people bought the CTX, and it didn't duplicate that kind of sound. And so a lot of people went back to their E-Track. And, they're all good machines, but it's a matter of you knowing what that machine is telling you.
That's right. And I want to mention, too, my friends, the boys from Illinois, as I call them, they came to that happy hunting ground. That's Deep Digger Duo. That's a father and son team from the Chicago area.
Right.
And Tom Hillich, they came to the happy hunting ground, and they also did some woods hunting with a metal detecting for them, too. And they use E-Track. Digger Don and his son Alec, they use E-Track, and they know their machine. Let me tell you, they know they're very good with their machines. And Tom has a CTX, and he knows his machine well too. So whatever machine you use, if you learn it, you're going to turn up some great stuff.
I've seen those videos that where y'all hunted together there, and I've seen Hilux Yoda's videos where he finds all the gold rings in the
Dream Stream.
The Dream Stream. In fact, he put out in one of the videos, for somebody to come up with a good name for that place, and then somebody said Dream Stream.
Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah.
Yeah, man, he's found some amazing stuff there. But he uses his 3030 in the river there, doesn't he?
He certainly does.
Yeah.
Great success, doesn't he?
Yeah, but he knows. It's like you said, he knows his machine. What are your plans for 2018? What do you want to do different this year than you've done in past years?
Well, what I want to do, like I said, I'm going to travel far and wide. I might even take a trek through. I want to visit Gettysburg. I know you can't detect there and everything, but this is the thing about metal detecting. It just exploded my interest for history. And I've been reading the books about the presidents. I'm going to go to John Adams and John Quincy Adams' birthplace in Massachusetts. And I'm going to, go to Gettysburg. And that's pretty far west, in Pennsylvania. And on my way, I want to hook up with one of my metal detector friends on YouTube. I call him a friend, but he usually has some wisecracks to give me, and that's Keith, Detecting the Berg.
I haven't watched his channel.
I don't know if you know Keith, Detecting the Berg.
No, I hadn't watched his channel. You'll have to you'll have to send me a link on that. And
he uses a CTX, and he hunts with a guy called Dr. Zed, and he finds a lot of good stuff with his CTX. He's a comical character. I wouldn't mind going out there and visiting him. And since I'm out that way, I'm talking. This is maybe like pie in the sky travel plans.
Right.
Since I'm out there, I might as well keep going. And I'd like to hook up with my friends out, the boys from Illinois, out in Illinois. And, the Deep Digger Duo, Tillich, Yoda, Tom, and Ill Digger, him, and detect with those guys. Because these guys get permission like nobody's business. Like nobody. I mean, I live in a difficult state. Joe will tell you, my friend from Hooked on History. But Joe will tell you that Connecticut, unless you have a really good line and they just don't want to let you dig there. But people like Don and his son Alec and the group out there, when they're hunting a property, a private property, there's people who come out across the street and say, "Oh, when you're done over there, you could come over here and detect." I
Yep.
wish I had that response in Connecticut. It just isn't so.
Yeah. Well, me and Jeff can't complain because we've got some great landowners here that we hunt with that we've mentioned it before that have come out and actually bush hogged fields for us, because we asked them
And
to
we
hunt.
do. And
Yeah.
actually, the landowner you're talking about brought me some cookies this evening, so I'll have to give you some of the cookies if they last. So, I mean,
by
a
the
great
way,
There's
landowner.
my friend Ben. You see where it says Ben Frog?
Yeah, I see him.
Yep.
That's one of my friends from the Happy Hunting Ground gang. Ben.
Well,
Hey Ben, how you
Hello,
doing?
Ben.
yeah. Welcome to Relics Radio. Glad to have you, Ben. You were talking about cookies. I want to throw something in here real quick. Our first guest, whenever we first started Relics Radio, was Keebs with the Stealth Diggers. He and I have been friends for a long time. Keebs has been in the hospital. Just got out of the hospital, had a hernia,
Oh no.
and had an operation. I think he's doing better because he did a Facebook Live thing, and you know how Keebs is whenever he gets a ukulele and goes to singing, and he did that today. But we want to send out our best wishes to the Keebler, and hope that you get on the mend and get back out with Charlie and Ninjen and all the guys, and hope you're on the mend there, Keebs.
Yeah, we
I hope
sure
so,
do.
too.
And if you're going to have surgery now up there, it's a good time to do it because, I mean, the ground's froze and you can't be relic hunting. So
Me and Jeff got just a little bit of taste of what all of you guys up north have, because yesterday we went hunting and we got into a spot that the ground was froze as hard as concrete. Now we worked on up the hill and found a place that you could dig, but it was brutal, wasn't it, Jeff?
it was actually the spot we needed to be was the worst. I mean, of course, the water drained down the hill, you could tell, and then it was froze, 8 inches, 9 inches deep. And most of your targets were maybe 5 or 6 inches deep. And I mean, it would make you mad. I mean, you would get a good target and a good tone and you couldn't get to it. And then, I mean, we did dig there just a little bit, but finally we were just like, well, hey, it's been here this long. It's going to stay here. We can come back to this spot. So we made our way up the hill but yeah, it's terrible. I mean, we needed a jackhammer.
Yeah.
So.
And I guess everybody in the country is going to be in the same boat. We've got a storm system that's coming into Kentucky and Tennessee that will come in about sometime tomorrow. It's going to start out with freezing rain, and then we're supposed to have some snow. So we got some more rough weather coming, I tell you. Dennis,
It's been a bad winter, I'll tell you.
yeah, Dennis talking about Keebs said, I think he had an oxen shoe removed. Now, if you know Keebs, he is the king of oxen shoes. That's a good one there, Dennis, I tell you.
That was a good one.
Yeah. But I tell you what,
I've had a couple people from the Stealth Diggers group from the shack there come down and detect the Happy Hunting Grounds. Smoking Joe, you know him?
I know Smoking Joe, yeah.
Yeah, so he's been down to the Happy Hunting Ground, and I put him on a nice find. He found a nice gold and black onyx ring.
Oh, good.
And that was some time ago, but yeah, he lives north of me. And, you know, he's one of the Stealth Diggers pack there, part of the pack. So
Now, Smoking Joe is the one that when you find Wheatie, he has that cute little laugh, you know, that kind of chides you on that. And we're all
yeah, he brings all the cigars. He brings a lot of cigars into the shack, you know.
Yeah. And we're all mad at Mark Hoover because he just put in there that they got a solar vortex coming to Florida. It's going to be dropping below 60 degrees.
Yeah. Oh.
What's the weather like up there where you're at right now, Johnny?
Oh, it was a warm day today, 38, and I dressed up really warm for beach detecting. It was too warm, but like I said, we've had temperatures in the last week. It was in the teens. My pipes froze. It was single digits at night, and even below zero. But thank God for this respite. We've had some milder weather. We're supposed to get a lot of rain, maybe 2 inches, so we could get some flooding from snow melt and the amount of rain that we're supposed to get. But we'll have to see. How's the weather in Kentucky there?
It was great today. It was. I hunted some today and hunted in a t-shirt, and but Deborah.
Yeah,
Minnick,
it was.
Deborah Minnick says
warm.
that we had minus 30 wind chill, or they had minus 30 wind chill for 3 days, and we had a terrible cold spell that came through here. Not normal for our part of the country. Our normal temperature right now is somewhere around 40 degrees, 42 degrees, and I mean we were down to 0 and 1 and 2 degrees. So Bill McDoodle said it was 71 today in Pikeville, Kentucky. So that's about right. And Deborah lives.
And it's supposed to snow tomorrow.
Yeah, Deborah lives in Michigan. She says. Wow. Missouri Mac said about the same thing there. Started out at 60 at 7 o'clock this morning, and then at 5 o'clock this afternoon, and they're in Missouri. It's 23 degrees, so that's what's coming our way. So I tried to get out today and get another day of hunting. I've actually hunted 3 days straight now, a little bit in 3 different days. So it's
something that. Do you remember? I remember one of Alex Yoda's videos. This might help some other people out there metal detecting that might be afraid to knock on a door to get permission. He did a video, Tom Tillich Yoda, on an example of getting a successful permission.
I saw that video.
What do you guys do to get a permission?
Well, it's a little bit different here. I put my stuff in the local museum here. We live in a very small community here in southern Kentucky. We know everybody here. Everybody knows that I'm a historian and that I metal detect. And people actually come to us or come to me and give me ideas, about, I heard that there was a Civil War camp here, or we'll have people come and, well, like on the Colonial site where me and Jeff both found a large scent. The landowner came to us and said, if you've got time, come over and I'm going to show you a rock-lined spring that might be a good place to hunt. And that's how we got the heads up on that deal there. So we really don't do a lot of door knocking, do we, Jeff?
No, we actually don't. I mean, of course, here in Tennessee, Middle Tennessee, where I'm from, it's a little rural community, and it has a lot of history. Of course, we had the mound builders here. I think that dated back to 12,000 years ago, Native Americans. And, of course, we have like 4 or 5 pioneer forts in my area. And it's just, if you get in good with the local farmers and if they know you, then they'll let you metal detect. If you're an outsider and they do not know you, then, it's kind of a little bit harder to get permission. And like what Lloyd was just saying, the landowner that had us to look at this stone well and then a rock line spring, and I'd got permission a few years ago to hunt this property, and they were just the nicest people. I walked up and talked to them, and they's like, well, let us talk about it for a little bit. And I'd met them at a dinner. It was for historical society dinner, and then probably about 2 days after I'd asked permission, and they was like, well, yeah, just come on out, you can metal detect, blah blah blah. But just like Seven said, very little door knocking. So, I mean, you knock on one, mainly around here, if you knock on one door or talk to one person, they own 1,000 acres. So, I mean, one man can hunt 1,000 acres.
It's very different here. I'd have to go really far up to the northern Connecticut to find a lot of the farms and, find a lot of people like that. But, there are some farms close to me that I have detected and I've had success at. But Connecticut's pretty different than permissions you might try and get, or people telling you to come here and stuff through your advertising. But like in Connecticut, we pretty much have to go door to door. Like Joe and I go door to door. I mean, sometimes we go together. He, of course, goes by himself. I go by myself. And we usually have a flyer to present. I could tell you what I say to people that it's been successful for me. And, usually I just knock on a door as somebody answers, which is not too often, but sometimes people do answer. There's a lot of people in Connecticut. There's work. They're either not home when I'm out there doing it, so weekends are good, but I try and do it any time. But so I'll say, hi, my name is John. I'm not selling anything. In fact, I'll be giving something away. And usually I show them some of the finds that I have found, like silver quarters and old silver dimes and buttons and buckles. And I says, in fact, this Indian head scent is going to be yours. And I said, I've been metal detecting in this area. That's my passion. And I try to preserve history through metal detecting. And I've been in the area doing that. And came across the property, and it'd be an honor and privilege to let me hunt here. And then I see what they say. See how that reception goes.
Yeah.
If they're going to be hemming and hawing a little bit, then I have to say, well, whatever I find, I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you my finds, and so you're going to see what it is. And then if they're still hemming and hawing, maybe, then I'm going to say, I return all my fines to the homeowner.
Yeah.
And so just for the thrill to try and dig that. And a lot of times, they say yes. I'm successful. And Joe from Hook on History, probably he has a similar spiel that he did.
And when you get in different parts of the country, people, their personalities are different. We're in the South,
yes.
And the South is known for hospitality. And like Jeff said, the landowner brought out some cookies and things. There are a lot of times whenever we hunt a place, and the family wants us to come in and eat with them, or to stay and talk and stuff. And so it is completely different down here. But we don't have a problem. The site that Jeff hunted today, we are giving everything that we find at that site to that family because his wife is with the Historical Society and works with the
local museum.
Yeah, works with the museum there, and so.
Yeah. And see, they've want. Of course, he wants us to find the privies. Of course, there's a couple old home sites on this property, and then one is the plantation home, and he's wanting us to find the privy for it, and then dig it up, and then he's willing to help with it, like front end loaders with tractor on the tractor, and he's willing to help do a lot of stuff, and then like even bush hogging. Like he'd come up and bush hog that one spot for us. And of course, over the years, we have become real good friends. I've helped him out on the farm and stuff. And if he needs me, of course, they're an older couple out of Tallahassee, Florida. And so happens she is heirs to a big name here in Middle Tennessee. So, but anyway, she's got the property, and she says we've got the run of it. So, and we don't have to worry about if they're not at home or if they're out of town. We can still go. I mean, just go through the gates. We can park at the house, and we just don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
That is Southern hospitality for sure.
That's what it is. And Dump Site Digger said, I'm moving. We can find you a place down here, Jim, if you want to come. And then Mark Hoover said, I can carry you equipment. I tell you what, Mark, you get your detectors and stuff and all your equipment. You come down here. We'll show you some hospitality. And it is, all jokes aside, it is a great place to live. I wouldn't want to live anywhere else. I love history, and if you've watched our videos, you know how much that I love history. And, that's what it is to me, is finding it, documenting it, talking about it, doing the research and the history on it. And then the landowner is welcome to have it, because if they want to display it at a museum, or if they want to display it in a historic home, if they want to keep it in their family, it's their stuff, really, because you're on their land. And I'm satisfied just finding the stuff, and I know that you are too, Johnny.
That's right. Yeah. Just the thrill of the hunt is what I am, and getting it on, recording it to put it in a video or sharing it on a forum or something. That's what it's all about to me. And most of all, being with your friends and wishing every success to everybody, and just the thrill of it all.
That's it. And Mark Hoover,
and like that find I found today. I mean, I was like, well, let me take it home, clean up, take pictures, and then I'll bring it back to you. And he was like, well, no, you don't have to do that. But it belongs with that home. So that's where it's going. So.
Yeah, and we're not going to spill the beans on what Jeff found.
No, we're not going to say what it is, no.
No, but it's going to be I've already got next week's video done, and I'm in the process of doing another video that will be week after next, where at the Civil War camp, Jeff has an amazing find, and then had another amazing find today. He's on a roll. I'm going to have to hurt his back again, take his detector. I don't know.
No, don't do that, please.
Mark Hoover said he'd bring the strawberry jam that his wife makes. Yeah,
hey, that'll work.
That'll work. We make some homemade ice cream and everything. Talking about door knocking, and Missouri Mike is on. He's talking about Missouri people. They're the same way that they are here. And Plugmaster Ford and Missouri Mike, they are kings at door knocking and getting permissions. So that is, it's an art. And I know that some people are good at it and some people are not,
Yeah.
Thank you, Mark.
Another guy from Missouri is Diggin' KC, Jim.
Yeah, I know him. Yeah.
He got 138 silvers this year. And he's and Missouri's another one, just like where Deep Digger Duo go and everything. Oh, when you're done over there, come on over here. We'll let you detect here. Boy, I wish that could happen here, but I think it's just like you said, Loy. It's like the area, the people, the Southern hospitality. I wish it could infect the North here.
Yeah, it's that's just kind of the way it is, different people in different regions, and they've got different personalities. And I know that Plugmaster Ford and Missouri Mike, they will say in their videos that they're hunting a spot, and either they saw somebody and talked to them, or they suggested to them, when you get done there, we'll come over here. And we've got the same kind of thing here,
Yeah, what was it last week? Plugmaster Ford I threatened their kid's life or something to get permission.
Yeah. He was just kidding. Jordan Anderson said most people have a bucket list of things that they want to find. My bucket list is people. I want to hunt with Seven and Jeff for war relics, and the Hoover boys for old coins, and Johnny for the adventures. for anything. So that's a pretty good bucket list right there. And, if you're ever down our way, well, we'll take you up and take you out on a hunt. And I know that Johnny would do the same thing, wouldn't you, Johnny?
That's right. I sure would.
I want to hunt.
Like I said, I'm looking forward to Jim Dump Site Digger coming this year. And we're going to go knock on doors, and I'll show him the happy hunting ground and see what we can turn up. That's for sure.
I want to hunt the happy hunting ground one of these days, if I ever get off up that way.
You're more than welcome.
Keebs has been on me for 3 years to come up to New Hampshire and hunt. That's a long way. I mean, it's a long trip. Me and Jeff went to...
we're going to have to fly that one.
I don't know about flying, because there's a few places...
come on.
There's a few places that we might want to stop and hunt, But... yeah, I'd like to make...
Who has been, if I could ask a question, Lloyd?
Sure.
Who has been the most influential person in metal detecting for you?
For me, I would probably say that that the stealth diggers have been a big influence on me. But I'll tell you why. Is because... you guys know how much that I like flat buttons, and I used to be on metal detecting forums was all that I was on, and the forums that I was on, nobody liked flat buttons, and so I got to watching videos, and I picked up on stealth diggers shortly, I guess, after they started, and they were finding flat buttons, so they've been a big influence on me. In fact, I've talked to Charlie. He's supposed to be a guest. We're trying to get that set up for later this month, maybe at the end of the month.
Great.
And, but they've been a great influence on me. And, I love the chemistry that those guys have. I love the kind of hunting that they do. It's kind of hunting that, Jeff and I do. Of course, they don't have the Civil War sites that we do, but, I think that they, they hunt the colonial sites like we do. So if I just had to pick one group that's been an influence on me, I'd say stealth diggers, because I think a lot of all of those guys, and Ninja too. What about you?
And for me, it would have to be when I first got into the hobby, I started on looking at YouTube videos and subscribing to people, and although he doesn't put up videos anymore, my most influential person was Dave from American Coin Hunting. And when he and his best friend Greg, who I think since has moved to Iowa, but they used to find all great finds. They had a couple of E-tracks, and they were experts at those. Once again,
Dave and I are friends, and I told Dave if he was ever in my area to give me a shout, and we'd go hunting. And so he sent me an email and said that he was going to be down this way, and he was visiting some family in Tennessee. And I said, well, you swing up this way and we'll hunt. And he came, and I took him to a colonial site that I had just started to work, and he found a half real at that site. And I
remember that. That was a video, right?
Right. I did a video on it, and then he included that in his, and he was very, very cordial. He brought me some gifts. Didn't have to do that, but I understand that he's just that kind of guy, But I was so proud that he found a real. Now, Digger Charlie, that's on the top of his bucket list, is a real. And I'd give anything in the world, to have him come down and hunt with us and put him on a site, because you know how it is when you invite somebody down, you want them to have a great hunt. And Dave with American Cohen Hunting, he had a great hunt, and I was just tickled to death with him. But what's up with Dave? Why isn't he doing videos anymore?
I don't know. I don't know. I invited him, to come. I don't know. I know he's got a new girlfriend, but I don't know the reasons why.
Yeah.
But I talked to Don, Bigger Don, and Alec, and Tom about it, because that's the whole Chicago boys from Illinois, and
Yeah.
I wanted him to come really bad and meet him. To me, that would be a big thrill.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it was for you to meet him. And,
It was. Yeah.
So he's what got me going.
Yeah.
He's really got me going with the hobby. Besides my friend Angel.
Yeah. For those of you that haven't seen Johnny's videos, his YouTube channel is Guess It Was Fate, and he does things different than a lot of people do. And I like your channel. Your channel is really unique the way that you do it. What was your influence on doing that way?
Well, I was looking for a editor, and I came across this one because I didn't have a computer at the time. I didn't have any computer, laptop. And all my videos are done on my phone, which some people find hard to believe. But, not to give it a plug, but I use Viva Video Pro. I think it cost me like $2 or $3 for the app. And I guess I made a little niche because, I tried to make, like I said, my videos entertaining as well as interesting. And I guess a lot of the younger people, are attracted to it. And so I put all these effects in there and everything. I enjoy doing it, but it is very, very time consuming. An average 10-minute video or 15-minute video could sometimes take 18 hours.
Yeah. I can understand that because I've got some history clips that are 2.5 minutes long that were 16 hours in the in making. Matt Perdue's in the house. He said he's sorry that he's late for the party. That's what archives are for, Matt. But glad to have you in tonight. Yeah, I know how much work goes into videos and segments that you put in, so I can appreciate that.
And I got a lot of, I called it, Guess It Was Fate because I guess it was just fate. And then I got my logo, with Beethoven, which is the Fifth Symphony, ... I got that on my logo.
Yeah.
And somebody, when people in Beethoven's time heard that Fifth Symphony, ... it sounded, people commented, it sounds like fate knocking at the door. So I'm a big classical music lover, big, and I use a lot of classical music in my clips because I just think sometimes it's even more exciting than rock and roll and stuff like that. But I like some of the other music that I use too,
Yeah.
But
Mark Hoover dropped a link in the chat to your YouTube channel, and appreciate that, Mark.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, and
thank you, Mark.
Go and check him out. Do you have a Facebook channel page as well?
No, I don't. No, you know why? I'm not nothing against Facebook because that's very valuable. But I just spend so much time on YouTube and some of the other things I do outside of metal detecting, and YouTube has been so consuming for me, especially when I can dirt dig and stuff. I can gather all these files and then put up the video. So I just concentrate on that one. And some of my friends just concentrate on Facebook, which is fine,
Yeah.
So, everybody's got their own favorite thing, their social media to do, and mine's YouTube. But
Chris Hamsoff put a quote in here that if you're not following the chat, I'm gonna redo here or say it on the air. It's a quote about pirates, and he said, reminds him of metal detecting. He said, it's funny that pirates were always going around searching for treasure, and they never realized that the real treasure was the fond memories that they were creating. That's great, isn't it?
It sure is. Love that.
That is good.
It is. And I know you've created a lot of memories with the friends and people that you hunted with. I've done the same thing with people that I've hunted with, and everybody in the chat can tell you the same thing. And what a community of people that we have, and I consider so many people my very good friend, and we've never shook hands. We've never met face to face, but I consider Johnny to be a true friend of mine, and we've been friends for a long time.
That's right, Loy. Yeah. That's right.
And I gave him a shout out. I remember giving you a shout out on.
Yes, you did. You certainly did.
It was on Easter, and the whole family was together, and I got them to.
How long ago has that been?
You wasn't born.
No, I wasn't born. Okay, I didn't think I was.
No, it's been. It's probably been a couple of years ago. I could go back and look in my records and see, because I keep a record on all of those things. But appreciate you, Johnny, and I consider you to be a great friend. And obviously, if you're ever down in our area, we want you to come and go and hunt with me and Jeff, and then we'll show you how Southern people live here.
Well, thank you so much. I might take you up on that invite someday, because you guys have got a great channel, and it's just wonderful things that you find, those relics, those buttons and buckles, and history is just coming alive watching metal detecting, and especially like your channel.
Well, I appreciate that, and I know that Jeff does. Ohio Relic Hunters in Bill Marsh. He's a very knowledgeable guy, and we appreciate you coming on tonight, and want to let everybody know and encourage everybody to go to your YouTube channel and watch your videos. I guarantee you they are different than what you see. And but we appreciate you coming on, Johnny.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate the invitation, and I was happy to do it.
Well, we're so glad that you accommodated us and didn't give you a lot of warning, but I sent out some emails to different ones, and you got back with me, and I appreciate that. And we're about to close things out here, but and I'm gonna mute you guys' channel. Good night, Johnny. And
good night. Good night, Lloyd. Good night, Jeff.
Good night, Johnny. Thank you very much for coming on.
Looking forward to your next finds and your next videos.
Well,
you'll see them, and
it'll be there on Tuesday. It's just that's our
Tuesday
day.
Night.
That's our day.
That's right.
I started the year off right, so.
Yeah, I did too. We're starting to get a few things and everything. But anyway, one thing that I did last week, and I want to do again tonight, if you like metal detecting shows like this, please hit the like button. And also, I want to put a plug in for some of the other channels that I wish that you would go and listen to. They are Beyond Sight and Sound. That's Josh Kimmel. He does a great job. Hardcore Metal Detecting. You'll like that podcast. All Metal Mode. The History Seekers. And also American Digger Relic Roundup. All great podcasts, and you'll get a lot of information, and it'll be time well spent. And remember, you can listen to these on archive while you're driving down the road. But certainly do appreciate Johnny and Jeff and all of you guys that were in on the chat. Hope we got to mention everybody there tonight, because we do want you to know that we appreciate you coming in and joining us here tonight. But we're going to close it on out, and we'll see you next Thursday night at 6 o'clock Central, 7 o'clock Eastern. Thank you so much for joining us tonight on Relics Radio. We really do appreciate it. Be sure and join us each Thursday night at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, that's 7 o'clock Eastern, here on Spreaker. Take a moment and hit the like button, and be sure that you follow us on Spreaker so that you'll get notifications of all of our upcoming broadcasts. You can also find us on YouTube at Digging with 7 or Tennessee Jeff, or you can check us out on our Relics Radio Facebook page. If you'd like to get in touch with us, then send an email to diggingwith7@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. And we hope that you'll join us next Thursday night. And until then, get out there and dig some history.